Hey everyone, this problem says use the percent formula. A equals P times B, where A is P percent of B. You can certainly use that, but you could also use this percent proportion, which some of you might be more familiar with. And so let's look at both. In this percent formula, the P stands for percent, the B represents the base. That's what we're starting out with. We always take a percent of the base. It's a better name for this, I think, is it's the whole. So if you have a pizza and it hasn't been eaten yet, so you have a pizza that say it's cut into 15 slices, the whole is the entire pizza, all 15 slices. After you take a certain percentage, suppose you come along, you say, hey, I want 5% of that pizza. Then you got to figure out, okay, how many slices is that? That's the amount. It's also called the part. You're taking a certain part of the whole when you take a certain percentage. And so those are the names that are reflected here in the percent proportion. Either one works. I kind of like this one because when we put in our percent, in this case 80%, we're going to leave it as 80 instead of converting it to a decimal. If you're using the percent formula, you have to remember to convert it to a decimal, so you would have to use 0.8. Not a big deal, but you just need to be aware of that. The challenge with any of these problems is to look at what you've got and figure out where does it fit in this percent proportion. And some clues exist here. Like I said, the 80% is easy enough to identify because it has the percent sign. So we know it's 80 over 100. That's always 100 in the denominator. And then our job is to figure out what's the part and what's the whole. We always take a percentage of the whole. So whatever comes after the word of, this is a general rule of thumb, whatever comes after the word of is the whole usually. So that's what we want to figure out. We don't know what that is. 28 is 80% of, well, I'm going to call it X, since I don't know what it is. And then 28 is usually associated, the part is usually associated with the word is. So 28 is our part. So now I've got to solve this equation. It's really a proportion. And the way we solve a proportion is to cross multiply. So we know that the cross products must equal each other. If these two fractions are equal to each other, then we can know that the cross products have to equal each other. So x times 80, which of course is 80x, that has to equal to 28 times 100, which is 2800. So 80x equals 2800. And of course, to solve that little guy, 80x equals 2800, I'm just going to divide both sides by 80. So 2800 divided by 80 is 35. So we get x is equal to 35. So 35 is the whole. If we take 80% of 35, we're going to get 28. So imagine this really giant pizza that has 35 slices. If I'm going to take 80% of that, then I'm going to be taking away 28 slices. Now, a lot of you will probably not write down the steps I wrote down here, which is fine. You don't have to. When the numbers are such that you can't do them in your head with a proportion like this, all you have to do is multiply the two numbers together in the cross product. So it would be 2800. That's what you would come up with. And then divide by whatever number goes with x. So it's 80 goes with x, so then you just divide by 80. And that'll get you the unknown in the proportion.